You know, in my head, obviously the goal is to be the champion. 100%. I have no doubt that that's where I'll end up. Brad Tavares is my third fight. He fought easy on his third fight. He fought the champion. The champion did beat him, but he didn't get him out of there. I'm gonna go out there and fight and get Brad Tavares out of there before that third round bell goes. I don't want to leave this to the judges. It's not my thing, and I want to do what the champ in under 3 rounds what the champ couldn't do in 5.
And then my final question, you know, referred to it, we have an African-born champion in Adesanya headlining the card. You've talked about it, your own hopes to see UFC Africa and being a part of it. I mean, does it feel more motivating when you see, you know, the impact of Ngannou and Usman and being on the undercard now of one of those champions?
Yeah, I mean, motivating me, they don't motivate me. I motivate me. Fighting for my country, fighting for myself, coming from South Africa, that motivates me. Seeing that African-born champions is a thing in the UFC motivates me 100%. But I'm self-motivated. I'm motivated by carrying my country's flag, knowing that I live in that country, knowing that that is the country I represent. 100% I am part of that country every single day of my life. And I'm coming over here and I'm representing them, carrying that flag, and it's an absolute massive honor. It's a big responsibility. And with that responsibility is just so big that it makes me feel big. It makes me understand the magnitude of this situation and how important it is for me to perform. And I love that because that makes me perform.
Such a great job in that fight. I mean, Izzy was forced to fight a fight that he hasn't fought in a very, very long time. You know, he was almost laying back just defending his belt for quite a while. And this fight almost had him step out of his comfort zone. He had to step out of his comfort zone because Alex wasn't afraid to go forward and wasn't afraid of his striking.
So here, to go back to UFC Africa, is it a little frustrating that it has taken them a minute? Because as of right now, there's only one African champion. When the year started, there were 3. Is it a little frustrating that it's like, you know, hey, it might have been even bigger, you know, had they done it a little sooner?
No. Next year, we'll have an African champion residing in Africa, so that's going to be amazing.
I said in my last fight that I will be in the top 10 before the end of the year. Here I am, and I'm telling you guys now, I'll be a title contender by the end of 2023. I think Izzy of old was a lot, you know, he almost left it all in the cage. If you will, he didn't protect the belt. You could see it at the end of his title reign. It was almost like he was defending that title. He wasn't fighting to win fights. So I think that's a good mentality for him, and I hope he can impose that.
And then obviously this time last year, 3 African champions. That has obviously changed. Is it a little does it bum you out? There's not as much gold potentially going back the next time they go? Or do you see this as an opportunity? Now you do get to be the guy if and when they show up to Africa.
Well, I mean, did those belts ever go to Africa? As far as I know, it came to America and New Zealand. I'm going to take a belt to Africa. I'm the African fighter in the UFC. Myself and Cameron, we breathe the African air. We wake up in Africa every day. We train in Africa. We're African born. We're African raised. We still reside in Africa. We train out of Africa. That's an African champion, and that's who I'll be.
Sport is one thing that unites us in Africa. We had an election recently, and all the three major tribes were factioned. Tonight, you were uniting people. Nigerians were talking about you. The same people who were arguing and fighting each other just last week were talking about you. Talk about how important
Israel, Bumaye, Israel, Bumaye, Israel, Bumaye. Look, I don't want to give this no clout. I want to whoop that. I want to whoop his ass so bad. I want to whoop his ass so bad. I want to do it in South Africa or Nigeria, and but he's got to do work. He's got to do something. Show me something so I can whoop that ass and I can show you history. I'll remind you, because you got to choose your words wisely when you speak on people that have come before you, people that paved the way for you. You got to pick your words wisely. You want to try and be a big boy. You want to bamba. You want to G with the big boys. You got to choose your words wisely, but I don't want to give him no clout. But if he does work and I pray to God he keeps winning, I will gladly drag his carcass across South Africa. Wallahi.
So amazing victory, and they leave no doubt that you're getting the title shot next, bringing Israel Adesanya into the cage. I guess, what did you make of that, of him being brought in and you guys having that face-off? What did you make of the whole situation?
Yeah, the only thing I made of that was it's usually the contender that goes into the cage, right? So, I mean, even he sees me as the champion already, so he better knows I'm the champion. And now that he's seen me in that cage, he knows what a force I am in there. He could feel the energy, and I could feel how insignificant he is to me when we get into that cage.
And whether you fight Izzy in Sydney or at a later date, it seems like, you know, given the things that have been said in the past, what was said in the cage, this could be a very kind of divisive and controversial build-up a little bit. How are you preparing yourself for that? Are you wanting to step away from it? Like, what do you think the build is going to be like?
I mean, you saw tonight, I'm prepared. I'm prepared for everything. Everything he says, anything he's behaving like a clown in there. You know, that's not how a champion behaves. That's not how a man behaves. He's behaving like a child. Conduct yourself like a champion. There's people looking up to you and you're behaving like that? Nah. You know, if that sells tickets, good for him. I'll sell tickets my way. I'm a gentleman. I'm a man. And I'll behave like a man.
When you do get in the octagon with him, how do you think this fight goes? How do you beat him?
I'll knock him out just like I did tonight. You know, if not, we saw his fight with Alex Pereira. If I get him to the floor, it is not even a fight. It's not even a fight. If I just get my hands on him, it's not even a fight. I will manhandle him. I've done it before and I'll do it again. And, you know, as far as the striking goes, let's take that out of the question. You are as good as your last performance. What did his last performance look like against Whittaker? Yeah, he beat him. It was a close fight. What did my last performance against Whittaker look like? So right now, that's how I plan on beating him. The same way I beat Whittaker tonight, by implementing the game plan and sticking to my style and doing what we do best. Listening to my coaches, listening to the great Mornay Visser, the great teammates I have at CIT, a small gym in South Africa, coming up with game plans with this awkward style, this style that looks completely wrong to so many people. I'm the #1 contender in the world right now, so it's time to put some respect on that.
Dana White's Contender Series just wrapped up a few minutes ago, and Dana did a scrum after, and he was asked about who could be next for this, and he basically said about Dricus Du Plessis, you know I don't like when guys turn down fights, and was kind of like nonchalant about it.
Neither do I.
Yeah, do you think he'll be next? I know Jared Cannonier's here in the backup position as well, and they've been kind to people who do that solid for them. So what do you think they're going to do?
I don't know. You have to ask Dana. But, yeah, Dricus doesn't know how to play the game. Look, you can't sit on your is it ranking or whatever and think you got it locked in. This is the UFC. If you look back at the history of the UFC, it happens, you know. So he thought he was sitting pretty, but he might have to fight 2 more times before I get a shot at this. But he doesn't call the shots. I do. I need you to understand that I call the shots. You don't call the shot. You need to understand this. You can sit pretty wherever you want, but if I decide to, I might give it to whoever wins between Costa and Khamzat, not you. But Jared's here, backup. I didn't even know it was a backup till yesterday. I saw him. I was like, what are you doing here? Actual. I was like, and he told me it was the backup. I was like, oh, shows how much I know. I don't really follow MMA news that much anymore. But, like, yeah, it's... when I had the shot at Silva and Gastelum, I had other things planned. You know, I was hurt, the Gastelum fight. That's why I didn't finish that triangle, because my ankle was so I had it locked on the ankle in the 5th round, that triangle. I had it locked on the ankle that was and I was like, I can't cinch it, so I'm going to use the sweep him. So I used to sweep him and get him up. But guess what? I did that camp with a up ankle. There's many times I could have pulled out, but I've still never pulled out of a fight, even though my pull-out game's strong. I still have never pulled out of a fight, ever. And I stand on that.
Israel Adesanya has given his prediction for this fight. He's picking Dricus to win by submission. I'm wondering what your thoughts are about Izzy's prediction.
Israel Adesanya is irrelevant right now. That man went on holiday and let him stay there.
Israel Adesanya is the guy you want, right? There's still some personal issues there that you'd like to resolve, and you think that sort of fight is the one that's perfect for your first title defense?
Oh, no, it's nothing personal. It's not personal at all. That's just the fight the fans want to see. I want to fight the best competition. There's a lot of guys that are going to be fighting, but the fans want to see Israel Adesanya versus Dricus Du Plessis.
You know, there's a lot of hype that was already built on it. If the fans go, if there's some way they start tracking and saying, listen, the fans don't really want to see Adesanya versus Du Plessis. We don't do that fight. It's fine to me. I don't care who it is. But that's just a fight on top of my head that I think the people want to see, and that's going to, you know, get a lot of people excited.
You saw this, and this question is very pertinent because you're the first African UFC champion. Did you see Dricus? Did you hear Dricus Du Plessis? That's a difficult name to pronounce. His comments about being the African fighter in the UFC.
Oh, I actually saw that. I think it's this week or last week. My one of my former teammates sent it to me. They're trying to be messy, of course. I saw it, and the thing about me is just I try not to be quick to jump on someone and really kill them for those things. You know, I'm not part of this cancel culture, but though I understand what he's trying to say. But the one thing that I think he's failing to realize is, you know, just because I go to China and my parents are in China and I'm raised in China, that doesn't make me more Chinese than the people from China. That doesn't make me more Chinese. And so just because you went over to South Africa and you're raised there, that doesn't make you African. So, you know, I would say to him, it's just, you know, try to be a little bit more careful with what you say and how you say it, because, you know, that's the thing nowadays is these younger guys and these newer guys that get up here and they just talk. They just, you know, because they want to appeal to the fans, appeal to the people. But try to be more mindful, because 20 years from now, that's not going to age well.
And I know you said you like to take stock of things and you don't jump on them straight away, but what was your initial reaction after hearing that? Because it's quite jarring.
It was funny because I've actually trained with the guy. So it's like, bruh, you know how I get down. You know, if it's one of those type of situations, you know how I get down. But, you know, it's nothing like that. It's after, you know, that first immediate, like, hey, are you serious? Because it sounded personal. Well, because he took direct shots. You know, he mentioned, you know, myself and Israel Adesanya, I believe. And it was like, bro, I actually kind of know you. And so, you know, I think it was just, you know, heat of the moment. He got up there, he's excited, he just got a big win, and he was just running off. But at the end of the day, you know, the wiser side of me is like, okay, I understand what he was trying to say, but bro, that doesn't make you more African.